At 1:05 a.m. on May 7, 2025, the Indian nation awoke to the news of a daring military operation. Operation Sindoor, as it was codenamed, marked a decisive shift in India's fight against terrorism. This was not just another counter-terrorism operation, it was a calculated and precise strike against the very heart of terror infrastructure across the border. The operation sent shockwaves across the region and beyond, signaling India's unwavering commitment to safeguarding its sovereignty and its people. Operation Sindoor was a clear message. India would no longer tolerate the scourge of terrorism emanating from its neighbors. This was a moment of reckoning. For years, India had exercised restraint, choosing diplomacy and dialogue over military action. But the Pahalgam terror attack, a heinous act that claimed the lives of 26 innocent civilians, proved to be the tipping point. Operation Sindoor was the Indian Armed Forces' resolute response to this act of barbarity. The operation commenced under the cover of darkness, at the precise moment when the clock struck 1:05 a.m. on May 7, 2025. The element of surprise was crucial. The targets, deeply entrenched in their safe havens across the line of control, never saw it coming. For 25 minutes, the skies over Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir roared with the sounds of Indian might. The operation was meticulously planned and flawlessly executed. Every second counted, every target was predetermined, and every strike was calculated to inflict maximum damage upon the enemy while minimizing collateral damage. At precisely 1:30 a.m. the operation concluded. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark contrast to the symphony of destruction that had just unfolded. Operation Sindoor, in its brief but impactful execution, had sent a clear message. India would no longer be a silent spectator to acts of terror. The seeds of Operation Sindoor were sown in the blood-soaked soil of Pahalgam. Just days before the operation, the idyllic town in the heart of Kashmir had been shattered by a brutal terror attack. The attack, which bore the hallmarks of a meticulously planned operation, claimed the lives of 26 innocent civilians, including women and children. The Pahalgam attack was a grim reminder of the ever-present threat of terrorism that loomed over India. It was a stark illustration of the price that India continued to pay for the sins of its neighbors. The attack was not just an assault on innocent lives. It was an attack on the very fabric of Indian society, an attempt to derail the hard-earned peace and normalcy that was returning to the Kashmir Valley. India's patience had been tested for the last time. The Pahalgam attack was a watershed moment, a turning point that demanded a decisive and impactful response. Operation Sindoor was that response, a clear and unambiguous message that India would no longer tolerate the spilling of innocent blood on its soil. The responsibility for carrying out this daring operation fell upon the shoulders of the Indian Armed Forces, the guardians of the nation. The operation was a testament to their unwavering courage, their unmatched skill, and their unwavering commitment to safeguarding the nation from all threats, both internal and external. The operation was shrouded in secrecy, a testament to the professionalism and discipline of the Indian Armed Forces. The element of surprise was crucial, and the success of the mission hinged on maintaining absolute radio silence. The world only learned of the operation after it had been successfully concluded, when Indian officials stepped forward to address the nation. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, Colonel Sophia Qureshi, and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh, each representing a different branch of the Indian Armed Forces, addressed the nation, providing details of the operation and reiterating India's commitment to combating terrorism. Operation Sindoor was not a random act of aggression, it was a meticulously planned surgical strike against the very infrastructure of terror. The operation targeted 9 specific locations, each one a known safe haven for terrorist groups operating with impunity across the border. The targets included training camps, ammunition dumps, and communication centers, all meticulously chosen to cripple the operational capabilities of these terrorist organizations. The locations of these targets were strategically significant as well, spread across Pakistan and POK, sending a clear message that no sanctuary for terror would be tolerated. The 9 camps targeted were Sawai Nala and Syedna Bilal camps in Muzaffarabad, Pak, Gulpur and Abbas camps in Kotli, Pak, Barnala camp in Bimber, Pak, Sarjal and Mahmuna Joya camps in Sialkot, Pakistan, Markaz Taiba Camp in Muridke, Pakistan, and Markaz Subhanallah Camp in Bahawalpur, Pakistan. These camps were known to house terrorists belonging to Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and Hizbul Mujahideen, all designated terrorist organizations with a long history of perpetrating violence against India. Section 6. Precision Instruments of War, Weapons Deployed. The success of Operation Sindoor can be attributed in no small part to the sophisticated weaponry at the disposal of the Indian Armed Forces. The operation saw the deployment of niche technology weapons designed to deliver maximum impact on designated targets while minimizing collateral damage. Among the weapons deployed were scalp cruise missiles, known for their long range and pinpoint accuracy. These missiles, capable of evading enemy radar, were instrumental in striking targets deep within enemy territory with minimal risk of detection. In addition to the scalp missiles, the Indian Air Force also deployed Hammer precision-guided bombs. These bombs, equipped with advanced guidance systems, allowed for pinpoint accuracy, ensuring that the intended targets were neutralized while minimizing the risk of civilian casualties or damage to civilian infrastructure. Adding another layer of lethality to the operation was the use of advanced loitering munitions, essentially drones armed with explosives. These munitions loitered over designated areas, transmitting real-time imagery back to command centers, allowing for precise target identification and engagement. Section 7. The Price of Terror, Casualties and Impact. The aftermath of Operation Sindoor painted a grim picture of the cost of terrorism. Initial reports suggested that at least 70 terrorists were neutralized in the strikes. The casualties included both foot soldiers and high-value targets, dealing a significant blow to the operational capabilities of these terrorist organizations. While the loss of life, even that of terrorists, is never a cause for celebration, it served as a stark reminder of the price that India continued to pay for the actions of its neighbors. The casualties inflicted during Operation Sindoor were a direct consequence of the support and safe haven provided to these terrorists by elements within Pakistan. The Indian government, in its official statement, emphasized that every effort was made to avoid civilian casualties. The precision of the strikes, coupled with the careful selection of targets, ensured that there was no collateral damage. This commitment to minimizing civilian casualties stood in stark contrast to the indiscriminate violence perpetrated by the terrorists in the Pahalgam attack. Section 8. A Message Delivered, India's Resolve Against Terrorism. Operation Sindoor was more than just a military operation, it was a powerful message to the world. It was a clear and unambiguous declaration that India would no longer tolerate the use of its territory as a launching pad for terrorist attacks. The operation signaled a paradigm shift in India's approach to combating terrorism. For years, India had exercised strategic restraint, choosing diplomacy and dialogue over military action. However, the Pahalgam attack proved to be a turning point, demonstrating that India's patience had its limits. Operation Sindoor was a clear demonstration of India's resolve to take all necessary measures to protect its sovereignty and its citizens. The message was not just directed at the terrorists and their handlers, but also at the international community. India, through Operation Sindoor, asserted its right to self-defense and sent a clear message that it would not hesitate to take decisive action against those who seek to harm its interests. Section 9. Shifting Sands, International Implications. The reverberations of Operation Sindoor were felt far beyond the immediate region. The operation sparked international debate and discussion, with some nations condemning India's actions, while others expressed understanding for India's position. The international community, long accustomed to India's policy of strategic restraint, was forced to reassess its perceptions of India's willingness to use force. Pakistan, as expected, condemned the operation, labeling it as an act of aggression. However, their protestations lacked credibility, given their long history of harboring and supporting terrorist organizations operating against India. The international community, while urging restraint from all sides, largely acknowledged India's right to defend itself against terrorism. Operation Sindoor marked a turning point in India's fight against terrorism. It signaled a shift from a reactive to a proactive approach, demonstrating India's willingness to take preemptive action to neutralize threats to its security. The operation also highlighted the complex geopolitical realities of the region and the challenges faced by India in its quest for peace and stability.